I'm delighted, episode 5, to welcome the lovely Cinzia Moretti as my guest on Aspects of Design today. Cinzia has worked as an interior designer for over a decade. She runs Moretti Interior Design with her husband. They're an award-winning interior design and lighting company, and they work on high-end residential projects in London and all over the world. Now, welcome, Cinzia. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well. My partner in crime on Instagram, all during lockdown. And I know we talk about stuff, every week on our IGTV Lives. And if you want to look at all the IGTV Lives, they're usually on a Friday, but they're all recorded and they're on Cinzia's Insta on Moretti Interior Design. So you can see us talking about all sorts of topics. And we've got loads more to come. But
not a couple, people we know as a couple now.
Yeah. So you're like my partner in crime. We've been doing all of this, but as we've been doing it, and I feel like I know you really well now, you're like an old friend. People, maybe when we go out after this, people will say to me, "Where's Cinzia? Where is she?" Because we're supposed to be together all the time. But I want to know your story, and I just want to know all about Moretti Interior Design. I think it would be really interesting. So I just thought it would be really good to have you as a guest today. So I want you to start. Will you tell me about your journey into interior design? So did you always want to be an interior designer, or kind of how did that come about?
It just happened. I never wanted to be an interior designer, to be honest. The funny thing is, all my family back in Sicily are into property. So
Okay.
my grandfather used to be one of the first developer in my hometown, and all the buildings where my family lived were actually built by my grandfather. And
Wow.
everyone at home was always talking about building and houses. My mom always done like a hobby to move things around. She was working on a construction company as well. So for me it was, oh my gosh, that's not my business. I'm fed up on that. And since early age I wanted to dance. So my previous career was as a professional ballet dancer. That's how
Oh, wow.
I moved back to London 20 years ago because I was dancing.
Ah,
Um, so it just happened because while I was dancing, when you do auditions, so I was working theaters and on tours. And when it happened, you are a performer, you sometimes need a job in between auditions. So I was actually working theaters and in West End, and I did a career in the theater. So I worked for many famous musicals as well. And
what did you do in theatre?
so in theaters, I did a career in box office assistant manager. So I
Ah,
worked for Chicago, the musical, Evita. I work at the Salt as well. And then when I decided to put my ballet shoes on the nails,
yeah, because there comes a time you can't do that forever. It takes a toll on your body. Mm-hmm.
yes. What happened while I was in UK, I bought my first property. That was probably in 2002, something like that. And as happened, didn't like it. So I trying to change a few things. And, I come from Italian family, so they all came up and said, okay, let's do it together.
It's a big family, yes, family project.
And actually, I learned a lot while they were doing things like changing the flooring. So I started painting myself, doing the gloss, cutting tiles. And it just happened, I sold the flat very, very quickly. And then I bought a house. And I did the same thing, doing everything by myself. And people say, okay, why don't you do something with your skills? And I say, okay, let's do it. So I enrolled in interior design academy. That was back in 2005, I think. And after I completed the course, I got my first job straight away. The actually academy was having a stand at the Dear Home Show. And I just happened that I was there, and someone came and said, can you draw this bathroom? So I knew how to sketch because my dad is an artist as well. So I sketched the bathroom and said, okay, can you come and meet me? And from there, that's how I started. So I got my first job, and I never stopped. And it was funny because when I told my mom, I'm going to do interior design, my mom was used to architecture, that's what the background of my family was. And it's like, so what are you going to do? So what is interior design?
What is that? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, real thing. You mean you're going to be an architect? No, because in Italy, interior design didn't exist.
Mm.
So it's something that has come up in the last few years, but nobody knew the word. So mama said, my daughter's doing a strange job. I don't know what she's doing. She says she's working with houses, but no idea what she's doing. Now she knows. Why I was actually already running my business by myself. I'm a kind of person that I always love to learn new things. So I actually enroll in university. So I had my university in Italy, but here I thought, okay, let's learn a little bit more about design. So I started design and innovation. And it was very interesting because the first 2 years was history of art. It was my passion since I was a kid. And then was sustainability in houses and product design.
Mm-hmm.
So I studied how to create these beautiful, Victorian houses, but bringing the 20th century with and being more sustainable. So that was part of my degree, and that's just building from that. And then my husband came into the business, and that's we got a little bit bigger.
So did you meet your husband sort of through the industry? Your husband, the lovely Michelle. So did you? Oh, Michaela. Oh God, Michaela. So did you? Don't tell him I said that. So did you meet him sort of through the industry, or was he already, because he's the sort of lighting kind of arm of your business, isn't he?
So he always he's an engineer, and
Mm-hmm.
he was working as a manager in a big Italian company. And he always he had a passion for lighting, things like that. So he always done through his career. And he say, okay, I want a change. So he went to do a master in lighting. So he got the master in lighting and said, okay, what am I going to do with that? Why don't I join you so we can include the lighting and interior at the same time? Because we noticed actually more and more my clients were talking about lighting, got to external lighting designer. But I was losing a lot of time on the project. So he was actually come up with ideas, things like that. And I said, look, I'm a lighting designer. Why don't I join you? And that's how it started.
Oh, fantastic. So listen, how would you describe your interior design style?
Well, that's a difficult question because my style, my personal style is completely different from what I do for my client. Because what my philosophy was is to don't do a style, but actually to create the personal style of the client
Mm-hmm.
that they're working for. So I think that having just one style is not for me.
Yeah.
I love to interpret what the client style is and trying to help it to put all together, because sometimes husband and wife have a different styles,
Mm-hmm.
and I love to merge that and also see the character of the property and merge that with the property as well, because I study history of art and
Mm-hmm.
architecture. So I love doing that. So if I talk about my personal style, is more contemporary, but it depends where, like my house here is more contemporary, but my house in Italy is more traditional.
Yeah, and
So that's
is that and that's
fine.
because you're in Italy and you want to feel very sort of at home. So, that was kind of my next question. So, do you think that, being Italian and being from Italy, has that influenced your style, or how you think about design? What does that bring to it for you, do you think?
I think that definitely influenced me because we live so immersed in, immersed by its history and architecture. So, like my hometown is Baroque. So I lived in a city that was full of ornaments and things like that. But then I lived in Rome, where so classicism, and then when you surrounded by this beautiful art, it's part of you, who you are. So I love merging traditional elements with contemporary style, and because I know a lot about um, classicism and traditional architecture, it's very easy for me to actually combine the two. So, for instance, in one of the projects we are doing, we are introducing some traditional elements, but it's more contemporary property, but we know how to do it. So it definitely influences how you know, who we are and how we do our projects. And every time I go to Italy, I got to see some heritage houses, or I go around, because if you think about the present is done by the past.
Mm-hmm.
The architecture now is done by what we learned from the past. And Victorian, also a historical building, have some, you know, elements from Greek and architect and a Roman element. So it's a tradition that we take with us. So
Mm.
absolutely, living in a, like in Sicily, you know, wherever you go, you dig and you find Roman or Greek all the artifacts. So it's impossible to be separated from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, you know, having been to, you know, parts of Italy, it's just, you know, stunningly beautiful, the architecture. And, you know, and you are living in it. It's not like, you know, they're not museums. They're houses that people are living in, streets that that people are living, just incredible. So look at you. But so listen, tell me, I wanted to talk about Moretti now, because you know, you've won awards and you've been nominated for awards, you know, an award-winning designing studio. So tell me about the awards that you've won and that you've been shortlisted for, and what were they for, and what were the
Yeah,
projects?
so one of the award we've been shortlisted was the Design and Architecture Award, and that was for a project we did in Chiswick. And then we won the outstanding luxury developments that is behind that, and that was last year as well. So yes, it came up, you know, it's so new for us, because you work with passion, and then someone said, oh, you won. I said, really? Oh, I'm sure Lisa, you know, I'm just doing my job. So
Mm-hmm,
it's really nice when, you know, the things you do with passion is rewarded.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because there are the difficulties in jobs, so many difficulties. So if it's someone say, okay, you actually, you've been rewarded for the job you do because you're doing well,
Mm-hmm.
it's very nice.
Yeah, it must be, and it must be lovely for the team as well to know that you've all, you know, you've all worked towards this, and you know, there's merit to it. It's you know, people, you know, the end result, that it's valued,
Yeah,
and
international and the designer and architecture award, it was fantastic. I mean, the gala night was amazing. When I arrived there, I thought, oh, wow, I'm the Oscar. And I felt like, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
it was amazing. So I was sending the images to my team and said, oh, we wish we were there. And
Mm,
it was really, really emotional. And I met so many designers there as well, from all over the world, from Canada, from Dubai, from UK. And it was so nice to actually share all the same ideas and feelings. It was really, really nice.
Well, I think
And
that's
yeah, and that is the year when Catherine Pooley won the award for the, you know, the career award. So it was really emotional.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's just fantastic. And I think it's just a really lovely recognition for the work, because people don't see, you know, all the hard, boring stuff that goes on around behind the scenes, and they don't see the level of detail that's involved. And so, you know, to get an accolade, you know, is really nice. It's a really nice award. So listen, tell me,
Just
pardon?
people just see the final
Yeah,
pictures,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
the work is
I
done.
know, I know, I know. They think, oh, that's easy. But so tell me about just the kind of projects that Moretti works on, and you know, tell me about some of the current projects that you're working. So generally, the kind of project, and then what you're working on at the moment.
Generally, the type of project we do is full house renovation. So we have a various of projects and different type of clients as well. So we have Italian clients, we have French clients, we have German clients, we have Arabic clients, Middle East clients. So and it's so nice because every client brings their own personality and history with them. So it's really, really nice. And at the moment, you are working at different projects with different clients, and we probably going to work in a few projects in Italy as well. So that's going to be very interesting. And we have a few projects in West London, some in High Street, Kensington, and we're going to start as well a project in North London as well. So it varies on the area. And it's nice because every area you go, the architecture, the house is different.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a slightly different feel. They often say that London is made up of villages, and you do
Yeah,
feel that areas have their a certain kind of feel to them. So you're busy. So you know, lockdown hasn't really impacted on your business.
I have to say we had so many calls during the lockdown, so many calls. And the common things that people say, I'm not happy, please help me.
Mm,
I'm more in my house, especially during the daytime, and I see things in different eyes, and they're stressed
mm,
because they're not used to spend so much time in the same space all together, and they find that they have nowhere to relax, or they were one on top of each other,
yeah, yeah.
no storage, nothing, because you spend most of the time out. You used
Hmm.
to.
Hmm.
Lots of people asking, yeah, lots of calls during the lockdown.
Yeah, and it's you very rarely, you know, in a family, unless your children are very small. But even, you know, very rarely you're all in the house together, you know, and it's never for that long. But here was a period of time where everyone was in the house together, and you couldn't really go out. So, well, that's fantastic that, you know, you've sort of, you know, you've kept going during lockdown, and you know, you've sort of come out thriving, which is brilliant. So, tell me, do you have a favorite project that you've worked on in your career?
It is a difficult question. It's like choosing your favorite baby. But I think that every couple of years you do have one project that make you do a little jump in terms of doing something that you haven't tried before. Maybe you find a client that is open to let you try new things. So yeah, I might have a couple of favorite projects. One is in Battersea, one is in Chiswick as well. And it's so nice because the clients became my friends as well.
Mm, mm,
Um, so sometimes you meet them again for a cup of tea and say, how's it going? Things like that. And most of our project comes from word of mouth as well. So that project actually is become kind of show, let's say a show for
yeah,
because
like a
everyone can
showcase.
go
Mm,
there. Yeah, and because the client were so happy about that, is actually has been going from there and but yeah, usually every couple of years there's a kind of project that to make you do a step higher.
mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Oh, well, listen, I just hope it keeps going and, you
Yeah.
know, the way it's going so far. But listen, another thing that I wanted to ask you about, which we have, you know, we've mentioned at various points during our Insta lives, but I know it's something that you're a very sort of strong kind of advocate for, and this is something that it's kind of woven through your sort of design, and it's called it's Biodesign, and this is something that you use when you design for your clients. So what is it? Tell us about it.
So biodesign actually starts during my period at university here when I was studying design because I studied something called biomimicry. And I got so passionate about it, so I could not stop reading and studying about it. I said, how I can apply this inside my design and help my clients. So I put together is a journey that I do with my clients. It's called Biodesign because I apply the psychology, biology, and science while we're doing the design for them. That means that it is a journey that they go through step by step on each design stages where they see how they can improve their lifestyle inside a new house, how they can improve their well-being, what was working before and how can improve it. We add the color psychology, we add the lighting, we add the smells, we do olfactory itinerary as well. We add the biophilic elements, and we also do the circadian rhythm. So all these put together
Mm,
is actually our natural instinct to live in the
mm, mm.
So it's, for me, it's a biological process, the design, and
Mm.
that's why I call it biodesign.
Yeah, and I think it's fascinating because you're using, the five senses, which is how we don't just think, we kind of operate on all these different senses. And then also just in terms of the psychology of it. So what you're thinking about for your clients is not just, here's a space that I've designed for you. You're actually designing it with their wellness in mind. It's actually going to give them health and psychological and mental benefits, which is just fascinating.
Yeah, and also this was one of my clients to say, "How did you get with it?" Because I ask lots of psychological questions, and she said, "How do you get to put all these questions together?" And I say to her that all the questions that come for the psychology come from my acting background, from my
Ah,
acting training. You know, when you have to interpret a new character, so you had to step and break the character in different little pieces in order to interpret a person. And that's how I do with my clients. So I trying to step in their personality and asking questions like I had to interpret them. And
mm.
so I know exactly how they want to live, how they want to embrace the new lifestyle, embrace a new home. And that's how I put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah, it's fascinating because you're really kind of, you know, really trying to get under the skin of the client and understand how they tick, because we're all different. So I think a good designer just doesn't just put in a design that they like themselves. You think about what the client likes. We've talked about this, for example, with kitchen design. You've got to design, for, if you're designing a kitchen for yourself, or you're designing a kitchen for a client, you've got to think about how you operate in that kitchen, where you like things to be, how you work, because then that's going to feel more comfortable and it's going to be a better. So it's about the experience. It's about the whole experience. And clients must love that, do they?
Yeah, because they come here and they actually at the end of the project, one of my clients said, "I don't want to leave my house anymore. I have here everything I need." But yeah, most of the time people don't realize how important the internal spaces are until they have the new spaces. It's like you don't know you need something until you actually seen that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I just think it's wonderful because, it's really thinking, it's going beyond the surface and really thinking. And
Think ahead. I
Mhm.
say always think ahead with the design. Don't think where you are now, but think where you can go with that.
Yeah.
Because even a lot of people don't think, but everything, absolutely everything we use every day is being designed.
Yes, absolutely. I know.
What you use, you eat absolutely everything. If it
Mhm.
was for design, we didn't have what. So it's in a human attitude to actually design something that will help you to improve what you do.
Yeah.
So it's an instinct.
Yeah, and improve how you feel. You even think about a knife, a fork, and a spoon, how they've been designed to make, eating food as pleasant as possible. Absolutely. Um, and I just love it. But have you ever had a client who, because you say you've got these sort of, you kind of go through it quite in depth. So, asking lots of psychological questions. So have you ever had any clients who go, oh, I feel a bit uncomfortable answering these questions, or,
Yeah, I actually have clients and say, "Oh, can we do it again?" And I had clients, "Oh, can we do it with my kids now?" Because funny enough, when they're with me, the husband and wife, they learn something they didn't know about each other.
oh, wow.
And for instance, I did the exercise, and then I met the kids, and the kids said, "Oh, I love that what you did with mommy and daddy. Can I do with you too?" And it was really nice because they see you as someone that is part of the family as well, so they feel very confident
Mm,
and very relaxed as well. So
mhm.
no, I have a lot of I really enjoyed the journey. I really love that, and never had. I always had
Yeah, oh,
questions.
that's great because you do, and I think I think it's a really good way to do it, because often in these projects, you do get to know about a lot about your clients, and you get
You
to
know, the
know.
mother, the sister, you know, absolutely everybody in the family. So,
Yeah, but you
yeah,
probably know more about them than, perhaps, close friends do. Because if you're, say, maybe talking about a bathroom design or bedroom design, you're kind of in these very sort of intimate, kind of private spaces, and helping them figure this out. So I think it's sort of a privilege to do what we do.
it's a funny thing because when I do this the psychological journey, I do the personality as well. So it's the color personality.
Hmm.
And I have a couple of friends that always ask me, "Can you do the color personality on me rather than just your?" I want to know what
Yeah,
personality.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
List of friends that ask me to do this exercise because they want to know what personality and interiors they are.
Oh God,
Because
that's fantastic. Yeah, because
in
it
the
will.
person have different personality.
Yeah, and it will help you maybe perhaps, make better decisions about, things that you buy for your home maybe, or what you put into your home.
It is, and it's so funny how sometimes, for example, okay, let's take one of my couple that I'm working in now. One is a spring personality and one is a winter personality. So they actually, the way they see the styles and colors completely different. So my job is to merge the two personality together so they can both have their own space, but the communal space has to have a happy place for all the family.
Yeah,
So it is really fascinating because you learn so much about people.
yeah.
And I really understand people very, very quickly. As soon as I meet them, I understand what they like or not.
Hmm.
And is the training I had and probably the experience I have now. I can, as soon as they tell me something, I know what personality and design they are, and
Hmm.
it's how do you know I like this? How do you
Yeah. Oh, but that's and I think it's that whole,
know?
everything that you've learned and you've experienced, because I think, the actor side of you and the dancer side of you and that theatrical obviously means that you've got a very vivid imagination. So my next question was, which kind of follows on from this biodesign, because obviously you're using this format and this system for your clients, but in terms of looking at, well, okay, that's what they are, so therefore these are the things I'm going to look at in terms of colors, furniture, finishes, style, so you obviously need to get inspiration for that. So where do you get your inspiration from?
Most of the time, it comes from the client directly.
Okay.
Or when I go inside the property, there's something that really attracts me about the property or an element that I say, oh, we can use that. And that's how it started. Um, Sometimes it's something that the client says or shows me that make me straight understand, okay, that can be my starting point. So, for instance, for me, I start directly from the color, and then that is my starting point. The
Hmm.
color is my starting point, and then I add everything around it. Sometimes can be an art piece of the client. Like in one of the projects is some statues that I have, and that was my starting point for the
Hmm.
design of a room. And then for another painting, sometimes it's something that they told me from their background or experience, that I can see they're really something that I want to evocate again, and that comes as my inspiration. So it really depends on the personality and the projects I do. It's every time is different. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it's nice. It's nothing the same. Every
yeah.
project is different.
Yeah, it's not stale. It's always sort of fresh each time. Yeah, absolutely. So, you and Michaela
Mhm.
run Moretti Interior Design together. So, how does that work? Because obviously you're a couple and you live together and then you work together. So, are you able to separate work from home? How do you do that, or are you, having project meetings over breakfast?
Well, it's really difficult, I have to say, because you tend to bring to work at home. But having a young kid, we decided that as soon as we step home, we're going to have to stop and dedicate to our son. Otherwise, you keep talking, and of course, kids do. They want attention, and it's normal. So we stop as soon as we get home, and then when my son is in bed, we talk again. Because yes, I'm always a night working, so we trying to arrange the schedule for the week, and things like. So once my son is in bed, we continue. But in the office is okay, you know, with the team is okay. At the beginning was a little bit more difficult, but then we found our places, because I do one thing and he does completely different.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't say how I said that, but he's the one that run the company. Okay. um
But you're
Usually
the design, but you're the designer, so you
I
know.
am the designer, but the company is run by him.
Mhm,
So he's the one that does all the project coordination, the lighting, the technical drawings. So all the team had to follow him in
mhm.
terms of technical, because he's an engineer, so it's very details. And if we do, you know, sometimes we do, oh, let's light this color and things like that, and then he comes like, oh no, did you see this 2 millimeters apart? Sorry. So we start again. So he's very precise, and that's
Yeah.
what we
So
need as well.
he's the details guy.
The details guy.
Mm.
And I think he's, you know, he's an engineer. It's like this, while we are more artistic.
Yeah.
He's very, very precise. So everything in terms of technical is checked by him.
Hmm. Well, that sounds like it works really well, because you have very defined roles, which I think is really important. Whereas if you were both interior designers, you'd probably be competing, and you'd probably never be able to agree on a design, because one of you would always be tweaking the
Yeah.
others. So that actually sounds like it works really well.
Yeah.
So
Like bring on the table different skills.
yeah, yeah,
And now
yeah.
on his activity doesn't step on mine, because he doesn't know, he will never be able to put the colors together I do, but I will never be able to put the lighting plans that he
Hmm.
does.
Hmm.
So yeah, it really merged very well together, so that's why we complement each other, and it
Yeah.
works really well.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And listen, and you mentioned, that you have a child. So, you're a mum, obviously. So, um, you're an entrepreneur. You're a working mum. So, what tips do you have to sort of make all of that work, and to be a successful entrepreneur who's also a mum?
Be very well organized. I had to plan my day in advance very well, because sometimes kids have a more social life than you do, with schools and friends. So and I don't want my son to don't do activities because I am busy. So I had to be very, very organized, starting the day at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I have my time before everybody gets up. And then I know exactly, usually 2 or 3 weeks in advance, my schedule for work, so I can merge that around the family as well. So because I had to manage Michele's schedule as well, so you go in this site and I go on the other site, and you go to meet this client and I go and meet this client.
Mm.
So someone needs to look after the child as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, who's gonna absolutely. And also, you also want to have, quality time. You want to spend time with your child and with your family. So you need to sort of build that in as well. So do you sort of tend to sort of take turns doing stuff and then doing stuff together as a family?
Yeah, weekends are usually for family time. So I don't usually work on the weekends. We're trying to go often traveling around the country, because I love to see new things,
Mm.
and I love the countryside. So we're always trying to go out for the weekend, so that also we can explore the country and
Mhm.
my son can see different things. Otherwise, you get stuck to London. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I know weekend are usually are for families, doing activities with my son, and that's it.
yeah.
And
So your top tip is being organized.
be very well organized, and then relax on the weekend.
Yeah, that sounds like the perfect combination. So listen, I'm on to like my final questions now, and I've asked everybody this. During lockdown, we're not in lockdown anymore. We're sort of coming out of it now, but obviously it's still fairly recent. It's not that far behind us, so I can't not ask you this question. So, during lockdown, what did you find the hardest, and what did you enjoy the most?
I find the hardest to work, because being both on the same business, we had to take in turn. And of course, my son is still 5, so he's still on an age where he needs attention. So it was really difficult to do the homeschooling. and work and keep a boy there's very active, doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really difficult,
Yeah.
and cooking all the time. Oh my gosh, family home all day, cooking and cleaning. Because when you're out, you don't have this much things to do at
Yeah,
home.
yeah, yeah.
So working, look, homeschooling, and family cooking,
Yeah,
and
well, that's like 3 jobs, isn't it? So, and there's no let up because, it's not like maybe you're at work, you've made something, you bring it in for your lunch, or you pop out and you get a sandwich and a coffee. It's like, right, yeah, stop now. Everybody's hungry. We've got to stop. And, you can't just sort of quickly feed us. I know, I know. So it's kind of, but what did you enjoy the most? Was there something that you discovered that you enjoyed or?
yes, I actually enjoyed it, not traveling so much. I could spend more time with my son. I did more games. I had opportunity to do, more games with my son. So be more part of his life and listen to him. I know it sounds strange, but when you collect your son from school, everyday life, you had to cook dinner, and then one thing to another is already nighttime. But actually, being at home all the time with him, you start listen to him and all this conversation, and it also was so nice to see him growing, because during the lockdown, we're quite few months, you see his personality growing as well, and understanding what was happening through the news, and accepting that from I's point of view, and say, okay, so tomorrow the virus is going to finish, mom. Okay, yes, let's hope. So but
Yeah.
having this whole grown up, let's say, conversation, it was so nice that
Mm.
we never had that before. So yes, that's I really enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. I think we will look back and, those of us sort of fortunate enough to, not be adversely affected. We've all been affected in some way. Some people have been, horrendously affected. But I think, if you have children, most of us, I think, maybe will look back and think, well, actually, we were given this, amount of time to sort of be together and spend that time together, because it is that thing where blink and your children are grown up and gone, and you just think, where did all that time go? So to have that little sort of bubble of time when it was just you together, I think we will in time look back and appreciate that.
Yeah, and I learned to do a lot of board games. The new thing that we learned is we bought a lot of board games.
We didn't, because I've got teenagers. We tried, let's do a family board game. And they're like, no, I'm not doing that. No. So we did try, and we did have, one or two. But, as long as everybody was okay and everybody was happy, that I think was just,
But
and
I
we were
think
safe. That was all
kids
that
now
mattered.
in the age where they want to be by themselves. My age is mom and daddy all the time,
Yeah.
playing with me, otherwise I get bored.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're two
Yeah, I
different.
know, I know, I know. The time will come. The time will come. But listen, I'm on to my final question now, and it's just something that I'm really curious about, and I just want to know what would be your dream project?
Okay, so my dream project would be a house where I can put a lot of biophilic elements inside. So, when you see sometimes the house that comes with the architecture of the the background. So
Of the
having the
land, of
the
yeah.
landscape. So having the tree inside, water feature. I'm doing a lot of water features in the garden.
Mm,
I will look to do water features inside the house.
hmm.
So that would be my
So,
dream
so would you
project.
like to sort of be involved in it right from the start, as in, the actual architecture of the house? If you built it into a piece of land with a living roof, and, it was clad in natural
Yeah,
materials.
yeah, yeah, that would be my dream
Oh, I would
project.
love to see that, Cinzia. I
Yeah.
would love to see what you
I
would
have
come up with. It would be amazing.
so many ideas, but I need a project.
I know, I know. I just think that would be so amazing. But listen, thank you so much for your time. It was amazing to talk to you and find. And it's like all of this time we've been talking, and I did not know you were a ballet dancer. I love it. I love finding these things out about people, and it makes sense because you have that. You look like you were a ballet dancer, so that makes complete sense now. But I
I
just
was for a coffee, I will bring my ballet shoes.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I will. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's been just fantastic to talk to you and just find out because you're running such a successful design studio, and you're such an inspiration, for so many people. And the work that you do is just beautiful. And I was just thinking when you were saying what your dream project would be, and I was thinking it's quite interesting because I'm sure a lot of people, watching this and following you on Instagram, I'm sure they think, oh my God, the projects that you do would be my dream project. So, I think for a lot of people that's their dream, but you're obviously kind of the next stage ahead. So thank you so much.
Thank you to you, Nicola, and I will see you on Friday.
Yes, thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye.